Now they can hear us. Hello. Yes.
I know it's been a minute,
Yeah.
but there we go. All right, and there's a transition. Ooh, here, okay. Let me get my backup recording going before we start, just in case,
Oh
because
no.
with YouTube with the downloads, it's not immediate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so better to have the backup for that specific reason. All right,
Oh,
let's go.
there we go.
What's up, nerds, and welcome back to Heroes Never Die, your one-stop spot for all things competitive Overwatch and Overwatch 2. I am your host, Millie Drung, and we took the week off. Spyder and I were both under the weather the same week. Uh, similar illnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a great week. So I don't know how your week had gone, Spider, but basically I woke up on Wednesday. My throat was kind of tickling. I still went into work. Thursday it hit me like a fucking tidal wave.
Yep. That's
So I basically stayed home for a day. Then I was off the next day. Then I went back to work, busted my ass, and my body was still like really achy. And then I woke up the next day with 102-degree fever. So I stayed home again. And then it's just been waiting for my the nasalness to clear out. So got a little bit of that going. But yeah, just a lot of staying home, staying in bed, not a whole lot else going
yep.
on. I was really wanting to binge the 2 seasons of One Punch Man before today's show. That kind of fell to the wayside because of that. I only caught a couple of episodes. But it is what it is. But in the meantime, I did get my Vancouver Titans jersey in, which I'm wearing now. I did get the new one. It came in very quick. I'll go into that more when we're going into the jersey stuff. But initial impressions, because I have worn it a couple of times already and washed it. Compared to like my Soul Dynasty one, which I got during like the playoffs or the grand finals, definitely not as comfortable.
No.
And you can definitely tell that there is a difference in the material.
Oh, the
But
quality.
yeah, I will say like with the little sleeves on the side, like the zipper part, there's
Mm.
nothing on the Titans one, like there is with some of the other designs, which I thought was kind of interesting because a lot of them have the team logo in
Something
that
at least.
area, but this one is just blue. But yeah. But
Yeah.
anyways, Spider, I know you were also under the weather, and you're like, hey, I'm sick. And I'm like, ha, so am I. Well,
Me
guess we'll just
too.
shoot for next week.
Yeah. No. I, Mine was pretty much the same as yours experience. Like it was bad one day and then it got progressively worse and then it just slowly got better over the next couple of days. The only difference is add on 3 kids to that also
hmm
had it. Um,
hmm
and a wife. So that was our experience. Like we were like, oh, okay, Lily's in day 3 of it, so she's got like 3 more days of and it just like concurrently rolled through the family. So um, Thursday I woke up and I couldn't talk. Now by the time the show time came around, I could have talked, but I was just so exhausted that I was like, whatever, I'm going to bed. So yeah, today was actually the first day that I actually got to play Overwatch since the One Punch Man went live. I did log in, last week and check out the skins and buy them. But um, after that, I didn't really have a chance to play. I was busy with work, and then I started Valheim with a couple of friends, so we've been playing that on and off. So that's pretty much taken up my whole time. So it was nice to get back into Overwatch tonight, and get my shit kicked in for the first hour and a half I played, and then you joined me, and it went a little better after that. We at least went 50-50 for the night on the games I played with you.
What was 4? We were 4-3.
Oh, 4-3. Okay, so
Yeah,
we
better
had a
than us.
winning record, even better. So for the night, that put me at 5-11. So yeah, Uh, but to be fair, all the games I played before you got on were Mystery Heroes, so that's 100% out of my control, right? Like there's nothing I can do there. It wasn't competitive. I wasn't in the mood for that. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I mean, I guess the first one is One Punch Man is live now. The first official crossover, right?
Yes, like the full blown crossover that Overwatch has done at this point. And like at the end of the day, I know this event isn't up my alley. But that being said, they did make it more accessible in regards to like the challenges for this particular event. You
Mm-hmm.
just play the game in order to knock them out, and basically, the way that they did it is you have to get like 24 points. Wins are 2 points, losses are one. To basically like unlock all of the challenges at this point in time, and we made some pretty decent progress
Yep.
on that today, since today was the first day I also played since the One Punch Man collab dropped outside. Just log it in to check out the shop, see the new skins in action. Then I was waiting for the Overwatch League stuff to hit, which did come in, which we'll be talking about here in a bit.
Yep.
Was kind of going through that. I'm like, all right, well, it's like they're talking about like the support uh, pairings in the Overwatch League shop. And I'm like, oh, I'm curious about how much that is. And then, it's like an hour later, and then those appeared, and you get 3 skins and like the weapon charm. They're not doing like the titles that I was hoping to get for
Right.
like any of the team chants, but at least having the new skins in game. We got our first look at that. Kind of did a side by side comparison with like the Soul Dynasty Mercy skin. Some of them are a little bit more subtle than others. But right now, obviously, the big focus is the collaboration, and it is what it is. Like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like blown out of the water by it, but again, I'm not a major weeb. Like, I don't really watch a ton of anime. Just a couple here and there.
Yeah.
Nothing too like grand by any means. I've probably only seen like maybe like 7 or 8 anime series in completion up to this point in time, and probably half of those are Pokemon and Ninja Turtles.
Uh,
So that's kind of besides the point.
but we're
But
going through journeys right now.
oh, fantastic! So you're in the rabbit hole as well.
Well, I am a weeb, and I have children who love
Mhm.
Pokemon, so
Yep.
it's just like, who put chocolate in my peanut butter kind of situation.
Yeah. And I was laughing so hard, at one point, because you and I were talking about like the trading card game and how the kids
Hmm.
were getting into that, and then they're like, "You're familiar with these?" And then you like showed me a picture. I'm like, "Yeah, those are basically promo cards." It's basically like the entry point for like the collectors for kids, which makes sense. You don't want to
Right.
like crack it open like $4 or $5 packs, and then all of a sudden your wallet is uh basically completely drained at that point, because
Right.
TCGs in general can be extremely costly.
Yeah. My son's like a wizard at Pokemon cards. I don't know how he does it because they go to like these meetups where they all like get together and trade cards, like a whole bunch of kids. And every time he trades like a $3 card for like a $90 card, and I'm like, how do you do this? He walked away with like a $400 Gengar one day. I was like, what? Like I don't. And now I see why that NFL player quit playing to trade Pokemon cards. It's interesting, but um, back to the weebiness that pertains to Overwatch. Um, I they showed all the skins before, so we weren't really surprised by any of them. I like all of them. Like I think they all look pretty good. The only one that's a little weird is Genji. Like they did something like I don't know why they like slicked his hair back. Like just give him the Genos hair where it's like all spiky, like anime hair, like spiky, and the generic anime hair, the Cloud Strife type of hair. That's like the only like sticking spot for me. The rest of them look really good, and the community seems to agree because like every game I played tonight had at least One Punch Man skin in it, pretty much. Like they are going like they are making a butt ton of money off of this. So
Mhm.
this is not going to be the last crossover. So I'm curious to see what they do next. We have a little bit of hints about it, but As far as the event, like the event, I think is paced like perfectly. Like it's just play the game, which is I think good for a competitive multiplayer game. Like I think if they get too like in the weeds with like oh do 7,000 damage as damage and heal 5,000 as healing and boop 7 people off the map as Pharah and stuff like you start to create some unhealthy gameplay habits in the gamers. So I think just playing the game is perfect for these events. I mean, it's what it used to be, and they pivoted away from it, and people complained, so now they're kind of going back to it. So if they keep it going forward, the fact that I can knock it out in like a solid night of playing from like 8 o'clock to like 10:50, 11 o'clock, while taking breaks and doing stuff. I think it's perfect. Like that's awesome for like the casual audience. So I, I have nothing but good things. I played one game as well. I got Doomfist and Mystery Heroes, and I did fairly well as Doomfist and Mystery Heroes. I don't know how, because I'm terrible at Doomfist. And that was my extent of playing as One Punch Man. So the other skins are great, though. Like the Kiriko skin, I think is my favorite. Because I think it looks the most like the character. Moomin Rider is good, but I didn't get to play as that one because I just unlocked it when we quit. So other than that, make sure you're tuning into. I think Twitch drops are still going on, so there is the Twitch stuff going on. So yeah, I know they did a stream with Flats where they talked about like some general game design discussions and stuff, but there wasn't really like a whole lot there. And then they
Yeah,
did have like that big, like, what was it? It was like an hour long or something, like YouTube, like pre-recorded YouTube video. And that one was really informative. Like we got a lot of stuff out of that one. Like we could probably do like a whole show on that one alone. And I had thought about like I watched it when I was sick, and I had thought about doing like a video for our YouTube channel, but I felt like shit so much that week that I was like, and now now everybody knows, so it's not really worth it.
yeah, like I think the biggest thing to come out of like those recent streams that you were talking about is in regards to like the PvE stuff. They're gonna have announcements on that sooner than what the community is expecting. Now, that's not to say that PvE itself is gonna be here sooner than we expect, but looks like we'll be hearing something on that here. Uh, you know, hopefully sooner rather than later, especially with
Shortly.
the start of like a lot of the major esports stuff going on here. And then like really the only other thing that was like of note was like how both of the next couple of here releases are quote cute.
Yep, cute supports, but they emphasized it like it's kind of like Mercy cute, which a lot of people took kind of weird because they were like, what does that mean? Are we getting like mom cute or like I don't know, like that was a weird phrase. Like if they were like it's cute supports, then people would be like, all right, that's awesome. But then they were like it's cute like Mercy, and everybody's like, well, what does that mean? Like that's kind of
Yeah.
weird. It basically just ruled out Jetpack Cat. Um,
Yeah, just nothing like fluffy or squishy. Well, I mean, I guess I can't really say that because that could relate to other things. But yeah,
Mama Hong.
yeah. I'm on other specific parts.
Mhm.
But yeah, in regards to like the One Punch Man stuff, it's nice that we don't need to have like a specific game mode to
Mhm.
tie into these collaborations, so they don't need to feel forced to like spend that additional, developer time to come up with a new idea, like kind of like what we got with something like Battle for Olympus. So just having like these just blanket collaborations that you can kind of sprinkle in here and there, whether this is something they do quarterly or maybe like twice a year or whatever, remains to be seen. But all in all, like,
Mhm.
as you said, like we've been seeing a ton of the skins in game, which is fantastic to see. The community has really enjoyed what they have been seeing. I like the skins, even though I'm not like I haven't finished the series yet, so I can't say if I liked it or not. I will say though, like obviously you saw like my first impressions. I was just like, like randomly typing questions I have as I'm like watching the series. I'm
Well,
like,
the
what the fuck is up with the names of these cities? They're all cities A through Z. But then like you see all the damage that the cities take, and then it's just like, well, there's no point in naming them because they're just gonna get destroyed every episode.
and you got to remember
And
that it's a parody series. Like it
yeah.
started as like a parody series.
Mm,
So I mean, I don't want to diminish the story because I've read up to the current web comic and the manga,
mm.
and I've seen both seasons. So it does develop into like its own thing, but it's a
Okay.
parody. So
Yeah.
like you're not supposed to take it that seriously. That being said, though, there is a couple of arcade modes floating around, like One Punch Man arcade modes that are really fun, where it's just like Doomfist only, and all you have is the punch, and obviously one punch kills. So that some of those are fairly fun. Like I hopped into a couple of them just to try. Nothing serious, and I'm glad you don't have to play something like that, but it's fun to check out. Um, it it would be interesting to see like their take on it because there is like an official One Punch Man fighting game, and uh, Saitama is in it, and he does kill everybody in one punch. But you have to like it's like a team based fighter, and you have to like work up to be able to use him. So it's
Hmm.
not like you just select him and then he comes out and demolishes everybody. Like what, and there are ways to circumvent it. So it'd be cool to see like their take on it. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad that they didn't go that route. Like, just let us play the game, man. I did Mystery Heroes. I did Quick Play. You do competitive Mystery Heroes if you're a sadist. Beyond that, uh, like I said, I have nothing else to say on it.
Absolutely, and of course that tied into the patch drop that they, which was March 7th. Which we'll go over the balance updates here in just a little bit. So one of the other discussions that spawned with the crossover was the devs basically, outright saying like, hey, we'd love to have Overwatch 2 crossover into other titles, whether it is hero specific, whether it is like maps, which also go both ways in regards to collaborations, like bringing in key locations into Overwatch 2 for like a potential limited time game mode. But I feel like every time we talk about crossovers, particularly with Overwatch, it always seems to lean in towards like Super Smash Brothers,
Hmm.
and not like its own like entity with like Blizzard like branching out into like a different subgenre, which they've been known to do in the past. But it's obvious that they're not trying to go like the Fortnite direction where you just have like 8 billion IPs all tied into one.
The real metaverse. No, I, I want to see other crossovers, but them being ambitious enough to want to um, put their characters in other games is good
Mhm.
too. Um, Smash Brothers is obviously like the front runner because that's like when you think of crossovers, that's the game. Um, Beyond that, there isn't a whole lot of, like Among Us is doing a lot of crossovers right now. Um,
Mhm.
Destiny is actually doing a lot of crossovers. They actually did a Fortnite crossover where you could get Fortnite esque skins in Destiny. They were actually pretty banging. I'm not gonna lie. Then they did Assassin's Creed, so each of the classes were kind of loosely based on different people in the Assassin's Creed games. Like the Warlock is like Ezio, and they look really good too. Um, I didn't buy them, but I bought a couple of the Fortnite ones. Um, there are a few like other games crossing into these kind of things. So I could see them putting it out. Now the problem with Destiny, and this is why I brought it up because I thought it would be funny, is the whole Microsoft Sony thing going on right now where they're battling each other. Sony
Right.
just bought Bungie. Not too long ago, like shortly after the whole Microsoft thing started to go down. So I don't know if those two will be able to cohabitate. Just out of they really fucking hate each other right now.
Mhm.
But it would be cool to see like certain other games. Like I said, Among Us is doing a lot of crossovers. Um, there, you know, it any live service game can potentially cross over to any other live service game. Um, just because of the way they're monetized. So we'll see. Will we see like Overwatch heroes in Call of Duty? Maybe. Will we see like Call of Duty skins in Overwatch? Yeah, it's called Soldier 76. His one, what is it? The Strike Commander Morrison.
Mhm.
But beyond that, yeah, I'm curious to see like what other ideas they have. I know in the in the actual article, like they talk about Street Fighter and stuff. That one I think is a little more out there, but we don't know how six is monetized yet. So we'll
Mhm.
see there.
Well, it's not like they're gonna pop up in Mortal Kombat 12.
Dude, that would be awesome. Do you imagine just like Reaper running up and just like shotgunning somebody in the face with Mortal Kombat graphics? I'd be like, oh my god, this is what I've always wanted from a Blizzard game. Blood.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh
it's
man.
cool. Like it's cool that they everybody was like, what's the next crossover? What anime are you gonna do next? What show are you gonna do next? And they were like, well,
Mhm.
actually, we want to put our stuff in other things, which makes sense because it's just more money in their pocket. But it is cool. So it's nice to see that I'm sure they're reaching out, and I'm sure as this cross pollination gets more and more popular, we'll probably see something. Um, but yeah, I can't think of any other games off the top of my head that it would work in.
Mhm. Right on. So one of the other announcements that was receiving quite a bit of attention by the FPS community was a recent Valorant announcement, which kind of ruffled quite a few feathers with the Overwatch
Just a little
community.
bit.
um, by basically implementing uh, a much better version of uh tournament style or path to pro, however you want to dub it. So
Tournament mode.
basically, the idea was a tournament mode where you're able to stack up with your friends. You're competing for weekly challenges and things like that, and then you play in tournaments at your given rank, depending on where you're at. Towards the end of like the competitive, seasons. And a lot of people are looking at this and they're like, what the fuck? Right? Like,
Why?
everyone's like, we have been wanting
Mm-hmm.
tournament mode, and this is not just specific to Overwatch. People have
No.
been wanting tournaments for Hearthstone specifically for years.
Same thing when Heroes of the Storm was a thing, because
Absolutely.
not many people know this, but I played Heroes of the Storm like religiously before Overwatch came out. Like that was
Hmm.
my game. Like I have probably thousands of hours in Heroes of the Storm, and now it's a game that doesn't exist. But um, same thing there. Like every like modern competitive game, people want a tournament mode in, and most of them have them, which
Hmm.
is you know obviously, a lot of fighting games have them, but it's a lot easier to implement in a fighting game because it's generally 1v1. So you just, bracket it out and then you go. But the fact that Valorant's doing this and they're forcing it into, full teams. So it's not like a queue system, which is perfect. Uh, I think is really great, and I think this is something Blizzard is going to keep a big eye on, because this is like perfect for Blizzard right now, because this kind of system is not easy to make in a 5v5 game. Um, obviously I don't want to sell Blizzard short. Like obviously, if they put the resources into it, they could do it. But they're probably going to be watching this really closely and see if it's really that popular because you never know with this kind of thing. Like you can have a lot of people be like, yeah, that's great, and then a quarter of those people actually do that. And if it's a small enough amount of number, um, it's not going to be worth putting the money into. Now, if we see Valorant grow and this becomes like really popular, like we like Twitch rivals kind of thing, and it starts gaining a lot of like traction, I could see this coming into the game by next year, easily. So I think this is like a perfect. It's like a perfect situation for Blizzard, other than they should have did it first kind of thing.
Mhm.
So they can make the most of this and keep an eye on it. And as much as people are like, well, how is Blizzard going to know how popular it is? Look, people are going to talk. People know, and you're just going to be able to tell without insider information. Like I'm sure we can come back after it launches and runs through a few sessions. We can be like, wow, Valorant's like popping off, or like, remember that tournament thing? I don't remember hearing anything after that like launched. Like, so I I am gonna check it out. Like, I'm not gonna play it because I don't play Valorant. I don't have the time to learn a new game. Are you crazy? I'm 38. I'm old. um, and my aim is not great. So uh, I will definitely check out. Like, I'll keep my eye on it and I'll watch it. And I do follow a few streamers that exclusively play Valorant. Like, I like the game. I just don't want to learn it. Um, so this is cool, but I think Reinforce is right. Like, dude, this kind of wish Overwatch would get it because we're going to talk about Path to Pro a little bit later and the Pro Am and stuff. This is like super open division and would segue so well into open division. So we'll see, but it's cool that they developed it, but I am still of the mind like it's not going to be as popular as people make it out to be. Like, so
Yeah, and a lot of that is just going to depend on one, what like how many teams are actually playing in like each division. Is obviously a big factor there. My only concern, like on the Overwatch front, with something like this is if there are to be limitations. Like I could definitely see the devs sitting down and being like, okay, like this is primarily something that like the higher end players are looking at pursuing. So then they would just limit it to like GM.
I think they should go the other way and completely piss off top 500 players and be like, look,
exclude them.
grandmasters can't stack in any teams above 2 people, so you guys can't play in this tournament because it requires 5 people. So sorry, this is for masters and below. Kind of thing, and then just tear it off based on division. Because imagine a tournament of all bronze players and the fun it would be to cast that. Like, it would be amazing. Assuming you eliminate all possible smurfing and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, I'm curious to see how this does. I am excited for the possibilities in Overwatch, but I am also excited to see how it does in Valorant.
Yeah, and it's something that is traditionally newer for the FPS games in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of eyes are going to be on this. I'm sure the devs are going to be paying attention to seeing how things fare, and maybe something that is on the vision board at this point in time. But we'll circle back if there's any sort of updates, at least on the dev front.
Yep.
I know, looking at the most recent patch that we did have, which dropped on March 7th, which, this would be a little bit more current if we weren't sick last week. But still, there's quite a bit of stuff with this new patch. As I already mentioned, we do have the Overwatch League team skins being added for the 2023 season. All of those are available. There was that snafu with the London Spitfire not appearing initially in the shop, and a lot of people are like I remember like London tweeting out, like, "Hey, go pick up your new skins." And everyone's just like,
"We can't,
bro. We can't. Like, you're not listed." And they're like, "Oh shit, my bad." There's also the team bundles, which I had mentioned, which is basically the current ones in the shop are it was Kiriko, Ana, and I think Baptiste for the support trio, and then you get the weapon charm for whatever team. I want to say those were listed at like 350 Overwatch League tokens.
That sounds about right.
In the shop.
I didn't look at any of the bundles.
Yeah, I only have 325. Oh. So I was like, I'm not spending money. I will wait for one of these esports events to start up. So maybe we'll get some tokens that way. But time is going to tell on that front. But anyways, with this patch, we got some adjusted distances, attenuation on enemy footsteps.
That's noticeable.
It's quite a bit.
Like what was it? The the game on what is that, Esperanza, the push map. Like
Mhm.
I could follow like the Hanzo that was running around us, and then I like tracked him until I killed him. Like he was running around all the stuff. So like that was a big change. So that I don't think it was like that before, but it just felt better. Now I did change headphones, so maybe that helped too, but I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, we also got quite a few updates in regards to the challenges.
Mhm.
Um, I remember, they got rid of some of like the arcade specific ones. I know there was definitely like the win of 5 games one that was removed.
Yeah.
But they also added stuff for like comp, win in games and things like that. Trying to remember if like there was anything specific that you and I were talking about outside of like the mastery one.
No, I mean, they did add another challenge, so there's 12 challenges now instead of 11. But you still need to complete 11 for the weekly challenges. It's
Mhm.
still 3 for the daily challenges, and if you saw the video I did a while back, I still think that's a really fucking terrible system. But they're sticking to that. So, but yeah, the mastery. What is it? The win. It used to be win 3 games as every role, is now win 5 games as 2 of the roles. I guess people complaining like, I only play support, so I don't want to play tank. I have to feel like it was tank as like the sticking point, because a lot of people do not like to play tank now that there is only one of them. Um,
Mhm.
I have met people that really don't like to play damage, like they either like to play tank or support, but I can think of 2 out of everybody I know that plays Overwatch that are like that. So I feel like tank was the sticking point, but it was weird to me that they increased the number. Like
Mhm.
instead of winning 9 games, now you have to win 10 games. Like why not just cut us a bone and lower it by one and say win 4 as any 2 roles and be done with it? Like these weekly challenges, I understand, are weekly and they're supposed to take a little bit of time. Um, but win challenges, I think, are
Mhm.
a completely stupid, but b, you know, it, I don't know, like
My take on that Spider was more so they're like, hey, we got this collaboration challenge going on. Hey, we need to make sure people are still playing, so we're gonna bump up the number of games they need to win for these other challenges.
I could see that. Like I could see them coming back and adjusting it down a little bit. The win 5 games in Mystery Heroes free for all or arcade, I think was a good change. Like although now it just makes the whole point of them moving Mystery Heroes out of the arcade stupid. Like just put it back in the arcade. Like it seems really weird. But I guess now they have a competitive mode for that, so you can double down on competitive Mystery Heroes. But
You know, competitive mystery heroes is definitely a thing. I don't
go
know if it's a thing that people were like really wanting, but like I feel like mystery heroes in particular, if we're talking about like arcade modes, is one of the more popular
oh
ones.
yeah,
And if we're
absolutely.
comparing like competitive for a specific game mode outside of traditional Overwatch, I don't know anyone who does like competitive capture the flag whenever that's running.
I did it once.
So mystery heroes, I feel like in general just appeals to a much bigger piece of the player base than any of these other like random competitive seasons that they've implemented over the course of Overwatch lifespan up to this point in time. So I don't know if it's gonna be enough to be like, oh man, like this will be my comp or anything like that. Just because I still do have a lot of fun just playing unranked. Um,
Hmm.
but it's cool to see them just going out of the box, doing something a little bit different. And we're still waiting on updates to like competitive points and things like that with like weapon charms or golden guns or whatever the hell they're gonna plan on doing, whether it's gun skins or whatever. We're still waiting on the weapon inspection, which they basically like, oh yeah, season 6 that's coming. So even though that was part of like the launch trailer for the free to play, that's definitely been getting a lot of attention too.
Yeah. No, I mean, the competitive mystery heroes, it seems fun on paper, and I was kind of interested in trying it, and then I watched Flat's 5 stack I watched Seagull, Flats, Emong. Um,
Mhm.
they all 5 stacked, and then they went like 4 and 7, and it was just awful to watch. And it was so funny because at one point, like they were literally like 2 and 7 or something, and then they did get some wins near the end, but
Mhm.
people are like, oh yeah, GM's all grouping up is OP, like they shouldn't allow that. And he's like, what are you fucking talking about? Like we've lost like every game, and it just because it was mystery heroes. So
Mhm.
um, it's cool. Like again, you kind of treat it like competitive capture the flag or competitive deathmatch. Like it's like, is it serious? More than the regular mode, but still like not much. Like
Mhm.
it's a fun serious mode. Like you get in there and you can't really yell at your teammates because you're basically like, oh, how many hours on Reinhardt do you have? Oh,
Mhm.
-7. Cool. E is Fire Strike.
Yeah, why is this Cassidy been holding Deadeye for 5 minutes?
Yeah, exactly. I I have a Genji blade, and the blades are own supports. Like I'll heal you. No, you're not a support, Genji.
Mm.
So, but outside of that, I don't know. There were some hero updates, I guess. Not much. Not much.
Yeah, a little bit here and there. Some a little bit more surprising than others, I would say. But just going down the list, we had Orissa's Terra Surge being able to be interrupted by
Hackable.
hack. Oh man, that's well, for
Sombra meta.
one, for one, we've already talked about how long it takes to activate this ultimate compared to literally everything else in the game, and how it feels so sluggish. So, regardless of what the hack duration is or the cast time for hack, obviously, because of the cast duration of the ultimate, you have plenty of time as a Sombra player to interrupt this.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that. I mean, it makes sense from a gameplay. Like, I don't treat this as a buff or a nerf. I think this is just like an evening out. Like, it should be hackable. Um,
Mhm.
like, you think about it and you're like, oh, well, why couldn't I hack it before, kind of thing. So I think it's just an evening out. Like, it makes sense. Like, I don't think it made Orisa worse or Sombra better. I think it just,
Mhm.
is an interaction that they missed. So,
Yeah.
whereas the Ramantra change, I think, was an interaction that they didn't intend and saw people like they saw how people were using it, where you're basically like Narutoing your way to like 500 extra armor, because basically the idea was before you would run in, you'd pop your like thing, and then you go to Pound Town, and then as soon as that would run out, you would hit your ultimate, continue going to Pound Town, and then when your ultimate ended, then you would pop it again, and you know, at this point. So
Mhm.
now they were basically like, okay, you can stay in Pound Town. That it's just a quality of life change, and I think it makes sense. So
Yep, outside of that, we also got some updates to Roadhog's Chain Hook, with the cooldown now starting when the ability ends instead of at the start of the ability. And they also lowered the cooldown from 8 to 6 seconds.
it feels like he has hook all the time now.
It
Like
it it really does. A 2 second differential is extremely drastic.
I remember when we were on Well and you were playing Reinhardt and be like, he hooked. Okay, let me walk forward a little bit. Shield up. Now I gotta wait 6 seconds. Okay, he hooked again. Okay, let me get. Nope, 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 nope. Like, yeah, it feels like he has hook all the time now. I still don't think Roadhog's like amazing. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
he's garbage tier. Like, I think there are situations where he can be dangerous if there is like a big open pit in the middle of the floor. But
Hey,
um,
it didn't happen. That's all
it
I'm
didn't
saying.
happen. Well, that's because we bullied the shit out of him because I was on
Well, yeah.
Bastion.
Yeah, as soon as we were able to, push up a little bit and just hold the corner, it wasn't really an issue. But initially, I'm just like kind of like tucked away in the side. I'm like, this isn't gonna fucking work. But yeah,
Yeah.
playing Roadhog, or playing against Roadhog as a Reinhardt on Ilios as well, it's just like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. But at that moment, I'd completely forgotten it. There was a shorter cooldown on Hook, so
Yeah,
I was
no.
probably being way too cautious in that moment.
No, I was playing so far back because he tried to hook me like 4 times across the well, and I'm like, nah, dude, I'm on the health. Like I was on the mini health pack. Like he couldn't reach me from there. So, like I said, I think it makes him good in certain situations. I still, like I said, I don't think he's garbage tier. He's just not one of the predominantly um, meta tanks right now. Unlike the next tank that got a change.
Which, of course, would be Wrecking Ball. And, of course, obviously the biggest discussion point with Wrecking Ball since the recent buffs to Wrecking Ball, having the rainbow color armor and health and whatnot in his portrait. The
Mhm.
minefield activation time has been nerfed. They increased it from 1 second
Thank God.
to 1.25 seconds. And yeah, like the minefield just in general has just been so potent. It really left zero room for any sort of escapability.
Mm-mm. I actually got out of a minefield today. It felt nice. Like he ran in, pile drive, dropped a minefield, and I casually rolled out as Cassidy. Like, cool, I'm out. See ya. Um, so and they added like a little indicator for his grapple claw, which is cool because he has that timeout period because everybody was switching to him to stall.
Mhm.
So little UI change, but overall, it's good change. They split the difference because I think it used to be 1.5, right? And then they
Mhm.
lowered it to 1, and everybody's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I think like this is the big change. And then Zarya got a buff. They reduced her barrier from 11 to 10, so she is now meta again. She is the best tank in the game. No, I think Zarya's okay. Like I saw her a few times tonight, and she did okay.
Mhm.
Outside of mystery heroes when a team got 3 of them.
Yeah,
Then
and then
she
you're like, what are we supposed to do here? It's just a bubble party.
we were like shoot the Zarya, and we were like
Which one?
which one? Like we had two
Guys,
bad.
don't shoot the bubbles.
Fun fact: 2 Bastions versus 300 charged 3 Zaryas doesn't win. So, but I think it was a good change. Like Zarya, I think they got to be careful because Zarya is definitely a tank that if they buff her, she'll be right back. Like main only tank. Like we'll be back to where we were at the start of the Overwatch 2. So I think the 1 second is fine for now, but we'll see how things shake out because they seem to be micro buffing and nerfing a lot of tanks, and if they keep micro nerfing enough tanks, Zarya's gonna inch her way up there. So we'll see.
Absolutely, but yeah, just in general, quite a few like quality of life changes. It was the same with the Ash change with Bob specifically,
That's
where they
awesome.
made it more assist based to have Bob prefer a target you're actively shooting at with her rifle. The other thing of note with Ash in particular was with that recent skin that they did for her. A lot of people were complaining about the aim down sights,
Hmm.
and a lot of people being blocked, and I'm pretty sure they did clean that up
I think so.
as well.
I don't use that skin, so I don't know, but I didn't have any problems tonight. So and the Bob change the couple times I played Ash was noticeable, because there are certain times that I threw out Bob and like I would switch to hip fire just so I could be like, okay, pew 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 pew. Okay, cool, I got him. Like just to make sure I'd hit him, and then Bob would kill him. So I don't think this like makes her like crazy good. It just makes her a little more reliable. Because Bob was already a pretty decent ultimate, as long as you don't open the fight with him. If you are an Ash and you are opening the fight with Bob, you are playing wrong. Sorry. You wait till people are all over the place, then you throw Bob in, so people don't know where he's at.
And preferably on the map.
Well,
That's it.
I
That's the other part.
look. I only threw Bob off the map once tonight, and that's because he got booped. Okay. Um, May got a micro buff. Blizzard activates faster, which is
By
cool.
point 0.1 seconds.
Um,
Oh man.
she is now OP Please don't nerf. Farah got a micro buff. She can now move a little bit. Honestly, I didn't notice it that much. Like there were one time that I played Farah that I could kind of like do it, but I don't know. Um,
Mhm.
Sojourn's nerf, where she's easier to hit, was noticeable. I was playing Cassidy and I could hit a Sojourn like wiggle strafing. Um, but again, it's not huge. And then Baptiste, like Baptiste is I think the one everybody was talking about. Like
Yeah.
that was the one the community was really mad at. I haven't noticed it. Like it's like I guess it's noticeable, but it's still like okay, shoot the lamp and then kill them. Like
Mhm.
10% to 25% for most heroes doesn't change any damage thresholds. Like a body shot from from Cassidy, sorry, I still do that, will kill most heroes at 25%, just like it would kill them at 10%. So,
I think Spyder, the big thing, at least with the community aspect, is there is a major disdain for any sort of invulnerability
I get it.
states.
I mean,
And it carries over across every hero that has one.
I get it, but I think the initial knee jerk reaction of oh god Baptiste is OP now, like this is
Mhm.
like I think people have to realize that Baptiste's healing, while substantial and his DPS is quite good, his ultimate in 5v5 is a lot more limited than it was in
Right.
6v6. It's still really good, but you got to be a lot more careful with it. And Baptiste, you know, he works really well with the Rhine comp, um, but I still think like a lot of teams are still playing like Brig Zen or it's like super map dependent because there are a lot of maps Baptiste are not good at. Um, so you know, even at our skill level, you know, I think at our skill level, any support can work. As
And
long
at
as
our
you,
skill level, it's basically, Bamp, why'd you throw your lamp? It's
why,
like
you
we're not even in a fight right now. Why is the lamp out? Be like, oh,
why
I guess
start
we're
a
just gonna
fight
die
with
here.
lamp? Like, okay, same thing as with Bob. If you are starting the fight with lamp, you are playing him wrong. But yeah, I mean, I'm mostly talking about what I've seen at the higher level.
Mhm.
If you're a good Baptiste, you can get work done, but this doesn't change most things at the end of the day. I've seen, I think, like two or three like ML7 clips where he does do something amazing with the extra health, like he keeps his whole team alive and stuff. But like that's so like niche. Like I don't know. I think they definitely made like a mountain out of a molehill for this one.
Absolutely. But yeah, that was basically it for the balance updates. I think the only other one that we didn't mention was Hansu, the lunch cooldown getting lowered by 1 second, which isn't like a massive deal either.
Uh. Nope.
Uh, but
I didn't notice it.
but on the esports front, a lot of stuff is going
Woo.
down since we kind of passed like the hey, you need to have 5 players on your roster date for the Overwatch League. Now that being said, obviously there's been a lot of rumors revolving around a certain APAC team who has not announced anything at this point in time. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We don't know. There's some concerns about whether the Hunters will be in the Overwatch League this season. But we've had quite a few like full announcements for
Mm-hmm.
rosters. We also have a couple of additions. And just going back to our prior episode on 251, we were talking about the most recent additions to the Los Angeles Gladiators, and we were talking about, well, what are they going to do in like this, like a hit scan meta? Because we were talking about Kevster, Nate Yaki, and we're like, well, they're definitely going to need to address this. And then like a day or two after that,
Boom.
we had the signing of Kai to the
Problem solved.
Gladiators, and then we all just kind of like had that same reaction, and we're just like, "Oh shit!" Like, well, there you go. It's like it's obviously credit to the org for recognizing like, hey, it's like yeah, we need to shore up this aspect of our game that went out. They got one of the better free agents specific to that role.
Yep.
To really pick it up. And yeah, like I'm definitely feeling a lot better about the Gladiators with this sign and now compared to kind of like where we were at on our last episode.
No longer satiators. Now we are the gladiators. But yeah, go back and watch our last episode and then ignore 90% of the conversation I had about it, because they shored up like their whole weakness. So Kai is, he's a great player. He is, like you said, he's one of the better pickups they could have made for the hit scan role. So cool. Like, I said it last time. I said, gladiators have some turmoil going on behind the scenes. So if they want to get bought out, they have to show a good value proposition. This is a team that can absolutely do that. Like, imagine a world where the Gladiators win the Overwatch League and don't get bought out by somebody like that? Right? That would be crazy.
Imagine the Gladiators absolutely fucking for like the first 3 tournaments and then just being non-existent for the remainder. Oh wait, we kind of
wait a minute. Nah. But I'm glad to see Kai's back, and the Gladiators look scary, man. I am, we have another piece of news later, and I am so glad that a lot of Dallas fans were mad about it. After seeing the West teams, I am less mad about it.
Absolutely. So in regards to like full roster announcements, we also had the Washington Justice announcing their full roster. They have a 6-man roster entering the 2023 season, which consists of your tank line. They have Ben Best and Mir, backline of FD God and Teru, and then the DPS duo of Alfai and Flora.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, like you have a more deep connection, in particular to the Washington Justice. I know when I saw this announcement, I'm just like,
what?
Okay, like it's just like all right, we got a little bit of France, we got a little bit of Korean talent, but it just felt like one of those things where it's like, okay, we're to go out and we are going to get a middle-in player at every single position across the board, and we're just gonna roll with it. We'll see what happens.
And a model.
I'm just like, oh my god, what is going on here? I was just very confused. Flora has not really impressed at this point in time. Ben Best has been pretty shaky.
None of like Mirror is it. Mirror has always made basically the best of a bad situation. Teru
had some flashy plays with like Kiriko,
but he positioned he like garbage.
It was basically DPS Moira.
Yeah, exactly. This to me screams like super budget. Like they were like, we're gonna pay the minimum we can and field a team and hope we can turn some money around on it. Again, knowing the other teams in the West, they are pretty far down on my power rankings right now. So I wish Washington would do better, but it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, well, at least in this situation, we can at least say they do have a team.
Yeah, I mean,
we're still waiting on some of the West and the East to actually announce their rosters. So, like, in regards to power rankings, it's like, do I put them above New York?
No.
That's really the big question right now.
Yeah, New York is the big one. I mean, it's so weird. We're in this situation. Like, we went from not being able to buy a team's Overwatch League skins in game for a team that exists to now being able to buy the Overwatch League skins for a team that theoretically does not exist. So the whole like roster situation is so weird. Plat Chat recently, I think it was this week's episode, talked about a lot of the teams don't have social media people anymore. So that's why a lot of teams just aren't making announcements. Are there like, here's a picture of our team photoshopped and their Twitters. Okay, see you this season when we get rolled by a college team. Thanks. Buy our merchandise. Like, yeah, it's gonna be interesting this season because we'll talk about the Pro-Am later, but I could see this team getting walked over by some of the teams in the Pro-Am.
Oh yeah. which is unfortunate, but also super excited if you're a fan of Path to Burrow. You know, this is what we're always wanting to see. I mean, at least while they're still like at that supposed level, you know, obviously we've seen contenders team making it to the Overwatch League, and either absolutely dominating or being, you know, Magikarp out of water.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
just flailing, basically. And that's all they're doing.
Washington Justice used Splash. It's not very effective.
Yeah, basically. Moving over to the east, yeah, we got quite a bit going on here. I mean, outside of, you know, Chengdu. But that's a whole other story. We have the Seoul Infernal, add in 3 more players to the roster. They are at a league minimum of 5. So they have picked up Fixa, Mag, and Skewed.
Yep.
So looking at that now, we have MN3 and Zest for the DPS duo, with Fixa and Skewed being your backline, and Mag as the Soul Tank on the Soul Infernal. And obviously, like, I'm super excited that Mag is gonna be getting a bigger opportunity. You know, it's definitely something like being on Boston is kind of like its own swan song, I guess is one way to put it. So I'm really curious to see how he's going to adjust in this sort of situation. I think for the Infernal, obviously, like, the bigger thing is, what is the sophomore effort going to be out of the DPS duo? Because I feel like so much now that we're outside of, you know, the Carpe, you know, era of this team, like, are they going to be able to step up and, you know, really punch their ticket now?
I think so. Like, this team looks really solid. They had a you know, a phenomenal showing last year at certain times. Like, you can definitely tell, like, this team had a lot of nerves last year, and they had a lot of weird coaching problems that you know, they can work through. And we got a
we have to stop.
We got a Wild Ramses appeared.
We have to stop meeting like this.
We got a Wild Ramses.
I mean, you just keep popping in. So
Spyder, are you also rocking the Target collection right now too, my friend?
Yeah, it was a birthday present.
Yeah, dude.
Who knew that a guy named Spyder likes Spider-Man?
No way.
No way.
No way. Yeah, I saw that when I bought my jacket yesterday. I was like, huh, I remember that shirt.
It's such a good shirt.
So have you guys spent the entire time talking about the One Punch Man crossover?
Yep. That was the first
we did
70 minutes of the show.
Definitely not.
No.
We're just going over some of the recent Overwatch League sign-ins.
We're talking about the Soul Inferno right now.
Mag's back, everybody. Mag, your favorite. Remember Mag? Remember when he was going to be good? Oh, I remember.
Totem has high hopes for him.
Oh, man.
I have higher hopes now that he's out of Boston.
Totem. Are we sure that Mag isn't just Roar with a mask on?
I've never seen those two in the same room together.
Or Panker with a mask on? Like, I'm... Skewed is interesting. I'm happy Skew got a team. I was really surprised he got released from Glads, but... Yeah.
I think the Inferno team looks kind of scary, not going to lie. Like, you know, if Mag can... Look, if we stay in a Reinhardt meta, Mag can do work on Reinhardt, okay? It's when we start getting into these, like, diva metas and stuff like that. Ball, which is also meta, but Reinhardt, I think, is kind of edging it out now.
Well, because Mag's ball was like has never really been good.
I think at some point, I think it was Plat Chat said at this point he just refuses to play it. Like, he just is like, I'm not going to play it. Like, so
understandable. At least he has that sort of control rather than Spyder just being like, it doesn't start out as a throw pick, and then the very next game he's like, maybe I'll play ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's seen that bad Pachimari clip of just like the I'm going ball and then getting punched immediately into the void.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's all of my picks. None of them start as throw picks. That's not exclusive to ball. It's just I'm better at it at ball.
I'm interested to see because we've seen Skewed play almost like almost entirely Brigitte since
Mhm.
like he's been in the league. A little bit of Zen. So I'm wondering how like he's been signed still. I mean, dude diffed out Moth for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, so he's worthy of it. I am interested to see what comes of it. Admin 3's S is still a great DPS line. Um, Mag's a great monkey and a B tier or lower on everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. I
I'm being mean, but
It's
I'm
okay.
allowed to be.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the only thing that props him up for me is the rest of APAC is doing a bunch of weird shit, man.
Mhm.
So I mean, we'll talk about some of the other teams, but honestly, outside of like Dallas, I'm like, what? Okay, is it going to be the contenders teams that we got to worry about in APAC? Like, you know, um, it seems like all the talent went west.
Yeah. It's an
Well,
interesting predicament. Oh,
Spark
so I'm
looked
here.
pretty good.
I'm here for the dragons talk. Awesome. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
we did not get to them yet.
I'm excited. Thank you for waiting.
That was what I was alluding to.
That is definitely the Okay.
I mean,
This is what we're going with.
if we're up for it, let's talk about the Spark roster because I think it's quietly pretty good.
Yeah, I
So looking at the Spark, I remember when like they announced 20. I'm like, wait a minute.
My man, he's back.
I'm like, that's Elsa.
He's back.
And then I saw like the other signings, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I feel like we're running like Hunters 2020 at this point in time. It's a mashup of two different teams for the Honshu Spark this year. So we got the sign in of 20 for your second tank option, and then Lanza and Monk for the support line.
Solid. I think that's pretty good.
I think it's C plus or B minus tier. So I think the support line is fine if they can keep the DPS line alive.
That's
it
all
doesn't
that matters.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. And if we enter anywhere near a Winston meta, this team is going to be nasty.
Interesting too, because this team I feel like was for the longest time kind of like 50-50ing between like a primarily Chinese roster, primarily Korean roster. Sometimes it felt like they'd straight up just like a half and a half, and full Chinese now, and full Chinese staff too.
Look, the best part about this, right, is with this roster, there is no way they can Hanjo Spark themselves. They cannot, unless they start moving players around to different positions. Everybody is good at the position that they play. You're not going to have Architect come in on tank or anything like that. Like you just don't have the manpower to screw this up at this point. And like I said, the players on this team are nasty. So
I guess like my big question mark, at least with the Elsa sign in, or 20 in this case, is
right.
Elsa had retired after playing for the Hunters and hasn't played pro since that point in time. And we're talking about
that's been the
like
case for a lot of people.
July 2021.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just a question of like, has he still been grinding over these past few years? Because like we haven't seen him in the Overwatch 2 era.
Look, if DM can come back, so can Elsa.
I mean, there's questions there too. I think like from what I've been told, and by I say been told, but I meant like what I have heard on other podcasts, is that a lot of the Korean pros don't stream, or a lot of the, and I don't know if it's the same with the Chinese teams, but like a lot of these guys are still grinding ranked all the time. They just may not stream it or post their results, so we don't necessarily know.
Right.
We'll see what happens. I'll take him on Diva over Gushway, that's for sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
I think this team has like a possibility to fill like that Dallas role did last year, where you have a very solid off tank player that can fill in for like the Diva, Zarya, Junker Queen type metas, and then you have Gushway who can play the main tanks. Like his Reinhardt isn't anywhere near his Winston, but it's still good. Like every time he played Reinhardt, he looked better and better. So I think this team could be quite scary. And reading the timeline of the league, I don't think we're going to get another tank before the end of the season, right? Like, I think it's going to be 2 supports and that's it, right? Or maybe one will sneak in at the very end.
I mean, we've gotten the
Hmm.
first support was Kiriko, wasn't it? Or are we getting 2 more after Kiriko?
We're getting 2. We're getting 2 more next. Like the next 2 characters are
Okay,
both support.
yeah, that makes more sense then.
So unless one sneaks in at the very end of the season, this looks like a solid tank lineup, and I take it.
Mhm. Absolutely. Let's keep talking about the rosters, and then we'll talk about the Dallas news after that. So Shanghai Dragons definitely been the other big talking points out of the
They're
East.
cooking.
Primarily, yeah, I mean they're literally on fire in some regards, and you're looking at the sign-ins, and you're like, oh cool, Fletta's back on the team. Wait, what? He's a tank?
Yeah.
So we have Fleta as the tank for the Shanghai Dragons. Your DPS duo consisting of Viper and Hizu. And then the back line of Gatenam Jin and DM. And you're just like, my mind was like blown when I saw this announcement. I was like, wait, huh? Like, it really reminded me of like the 5 DPS LA Valiant. And then I was remember about like how well that worked. And obviously there was a whole can of worms with the management and the lack of pay, things like that. On that front, which has kind of been uncovered. But that's its own discussion in its own right. But, I'm just looking at this and, like, it felt like so much of last season, specific to Shanghai, was just like, man, like, we know this team can be really good, but everything was just so shaky, almost like every single step of the way. And it's like, okay, we're going to hit the nuclear option. And then this is what we're ending up with. And I'm just like, okay, like, normally I absolutely adore watching like the Korean talent and the East, and I'm just like, I honestly like this is gonna be the wildest season, specifically with the East. Not to say it's gonna be the most competitive season, but it's the most like toilet bowl-esque approach we could possibly have taken at this point in time, and we might get some fireworks up.
Yeah, well, like, do you ever see that video of the guy who's like fitting the pieces into like the board where he's like, where does the square go? And he puts it in the square, and he's like, where does the bridge go? And then he puts it in the square, and he's like, where does the triangle go? And he puts it in the square, and there's like the mashup of the girl next to it, like, no, like she's crying. Like, that is me when I look at this Shanghai Dragons. Like, no, like
it's either that or like trying to fit a puzzle piece that doesn't actually go there, and you're just pounding it into the table.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I'm doing this puzzle. It's like, what's the puzzle of? The scenic East Coast. And it's like, well, why do you have Paw Patrol pieces? Well, I'll make it work. Like, I don't know. Like, and even the people that they got in the role don't make sense. Like, Gundam Jin is going to be their main, like, I can't imagine Fleta would be their main support. So Gundam Jim's going to be on Lucio again.
He's still on Lucio.
Which is bad. That is bad.
My man is in jail.
Hisu, all right, look, Hisu is not on the bench. So this automatically means the team is not going to be good. Because Hisu's best place is the bench. If he is on the bench, your team is great. If he is not on the bench...
Hey, he's approximately 4 good Hanzo maps per year.
Yeah.
Approximately 6 if it's an even numbered year.
Here is the state of this team, right? They announced Fleta on tank, and that is not the worst part of this team. Like, by far. Like, that is insane. Like, when I saw Fleta on tank, I'm like, what are they doing? And then they followed up the rest of the announcements, and I'm like, well, Fleta could work on tank. Like, maybe. So, yeah, this is... Look, if they do well, all the power to them. But this is... Dallas Fuel is not going to be the dumpster fire in the East this year.
There is rumors, there was leaks as well that Fate is still supposed to be part of this roster, and I don't know. I have no idea. I would imagine not. I am just very...
No.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't think good things are gonna happen, but I don't know what's gonna happen.
The
Of
real
all the
dragons were the friends we made along the way.
like, I want to know. I just want to know, how do we get to the point where we're like, DM? There was nobody else who was willing to play contenders level, like on a contender salary for that. Nobody.
Yeah.
Like I
They're
noticed.
like, we need someone outside of Fleta that has this sort of attachment or history with the organization, and then they're just like scrolling through their phone book. Oh yeah, DM. That was one of our guys.
Like, I'm sorry. Was Who Are You too busy to pick up the phone, or like what's going on? I don't know.
Who are you? No, who are you? Click. What? Like, yeah, no. This, I don't know. They were basically like, we're giving Fleta all our money, and we have potatoes to give to everybody else. And DM was like, well, potatoes sound pretty good right now.
I mean,
So.
I'm just trying to think of like who else like I could have gotten that spot that would have been funny.
Mm-hmm.
If we're like, if it was like, oh man, Ding is coming back.
Dak.
Ding, or like Dak. Oh man, a Luffy Gundam Gen support line ideally would not be bad. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. Everyone's gonna be trash, Spyder. They're all gonna be trash.
Rascal, like Rascal could have played it. Like even
Rascal's
Rascal would have made more sense than Dio. Jake.
Oh, Jake on the Dragons would have been awesome. I'd be down for that.
He speaks Korean.
He speaks Korean. He can coach. He can play support. Boom. Awesome. But yeah, no, this is definitely a wait and see kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Outside of that, we also had the announcement of the Soul Dynasty.
Hey, Totem, what do you think about that one?
Void's back again.
Void is back. So we got Void as the Soul Tank, your DPS duo of Prophet and Prophet.
Prophet's popping off. Yeah, but Prophet's really weighing him down.
Yeah, like I just laugh because like obviously like our discussion is always like, oh well, what are the Soul Dynasty gonna do? Oh, they're just gonna clone Prophet 5 times. So then they're like, well, we can't do that. That would be unethical. So then we're like, we're start with one. We'll bring Prophet in, and we're like, okay. And then I feel like this is just one of those things where they're just like, we're gonna fuck with the casters. It's just like IDDQD, the player, not the team. Back in the day of the Ghost Gamers weeklies. So we got the Prophet duo for DPS and the support line of Lee Sumin and Krillin. Which like that one should be able to work. Primarily just because like Lee Sumin definitely has played both support roles, both flex and main support. So I'm assuming he's gonna be playing
Main.
Probably Brig. I think we're gonna get a lot of like Briggs and Yada out of this team.
Maybe
in particular. But this is someone who had also come from the tier 2 side for the Soul Dynasty and like Genji before he moved on to another team. So it's someone they've had in house. So it's someone they are familiar with already and have kind of cultivated already.
And Krillin's decent. I mean, Krillin can play flex support well enough. Like, I memed on him while he was on Justice, but I don't think that was his fault. I felt like every time I saw him, I wouldn't say he impressed me, but he showed like improvement every game. So I think that's fine. Void is like the interesting one, because Void to me just never looked comfortable at Overwatch 2. So I'm curious to see how he does. Especially since he was retired and then unretired and then retired, and then he's like, I'm not playing anymore, and now he's like back. So I'm curious. I mean, obviously the Prophet memes are gonna be great. I don't like. Plat Chat basically boiled it down to they're just gonna call them by their hero names. They're gonna be like Souls, Genji, Souls. McCree is popping off. I know Reddit was like Big P, Little P, but they were like, well, who gets the Big P? Why do people?
Prophet does.
Yeah, exactly. But how do you know?
He was there for.
Right, but why would he get it? Like,
Mhm.
you know, um, people coming in don't know that. So, it yeah, they should have honestly they should have changed their jerseys instead of Seoul Korea. It should just say profit, 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 profit,
You
profit.
know, I wouldn't rule it out. I guess like the other discussion point, at least, with profit coming in, is O2 Blast is completely picked apart at this point. Outside
Hmm.
of I think Probe was the only like mainstay still on the roster, which shouldn't be surprised just knowing that one, it is kind of like the feeder team to the San Francisco Shock. Also, they were just absolutely crushing, contenders Korea. Just winning championship after championship, and we'll see whether or not like the scouting is going to be as consistent as what it has been in years past for O2 Blast. But they did pick up like Marvel for like their new tank outside of attack. I'm
Woo.
assuming Marvel is probably going to be the starting tank in this point in time. But yeah,
Hmm.
definitely the meme ability is going to continue, not just outside of the jersey, but PNP here.
They're
You
making
know,
profit.
I do think, unless my timing is wrong, you guys may have missed the most important piece of roster news this week.
Oh yeah.
I have to make sure it actually got announced. Um, did Gargoyle get officially announced yet?
Yeah, I thought so.
I don't see him on here.
Or no, that was the rumor still. Like they
Okay,
were still rumoring that it was Gargoyle.
then then never mind. Never mind. I will
Yeah.
Yeah,
save my
yeah,
jubilation for another day.
nothing official, but obviously, like there has been a lot of like scrim leaks
Hmm.
for a couple of teams that kind of like aids into potential sign-ins that have not been made official as of yet. But yeah, definitely
Our PR
still
statements.
still weird that we're at this point where teams need to have like league minimum 5 players, and we have teams who haven't even announced anything at this point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, has New York actually shown their roster yet?
Nope.
Nope. They
We'll get
have
a
not.
leaked scrim at some point.
Well, because they're going to be in the pro am too, so I imagine like we should see them soon,
Hey,
right?
worst case scenario, we have something to talk about next week, right? Because isn't the pro am start next Thursday? Is it?
Yeah, should be next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, next Thursday, the 23rd. So fun stuff. I can't wait.
Yes,
Oh,
esports. That's what we are here for.
esports.
So obviously the other big news out of the East is that Dallas Fuel have moved
Mhm.
over to the East region this year. And I know a lot of like the community discussion points on Discord have been like kind of like trying to paint it as like an ultimatum, like, hey, like if we want to, keep this team together, like we are going to have to play from home. But I know they were like releasing some videos with like Castro
Mhm.
and kind of talking about like the decision making on that front. And, obviously like the players are homesick, it makes sense. But they did make it pretty clear like this is not like a permanent like move back to Korea type ordeal. They do plan on bringing them back to the West because they are the Dallas Fuel still at the end
Yep.
of the day. But I'm still curious to see like are Dallas still going to plan any sort of like watch parties at any point during the season, knowing that the team is playing in the East, because obviously, if you're a fan of a team that is competing in the East, the start times are going to be really wonky.
Yeah, I can see them like scheduling something for like the tournaments and stuff, depending on how that shakes out. Like if they make it to like the playoffs and stuff, where everybody comes together. But like I said earlier, when they were like, the players wanted to play from home. I get it, man. Like they've been away from home for multiple years at this point, grinding, with Paris and then, with Dallas for a couple of years. And if that's what it took to keep the team together, let them play in the East for a while. I the way Dallas framed it, and that this could just be good PR. it doesn't strike me the same as like when Philadelphia or like when LA went over there. Like they went over there out of like necessity to keep things cheap, whereas Dallas, I think, just wanted to keep the team together. So, I like I said, I'm fine with it on that aspect, and I'm fine with it too because APAC, honestly looks like the easier region at this point compared to the West. So I think Dallas, unless there's like some sleeper, 5 DPS team that we don't know about, I think Dallas could do pretty well in APAC. So at the end of the day, these are human beings. They have feelings, and if Dallas wants them to keep playing, and this was their condition, I'm glad Dallas caved and said, "All right, that's doable." So cool. Like I'm a little sad that I will probably be watching all of the Dallas games on VOD at this point, but at the same time, that'll encourage me to watch APAC more. So it's a win-win. So it's cool. Like I think Dallas did a good job. We'll see what they have planned.
We'll see. I'm sure we're not going to be doing any watch parties at 6 a.m. But
Just think about Fearless though, right? Dallas is like, yay, we get to go home and play at home, and Fearless is like, but I'm in Houston now. Like,
I'm
what?
still here.
Like, oh. That's what you get for jumping ship, you bastard. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep. And of course, their backline was feeling the same way, at least for Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they're on the East Coast. No, I actually don't know where Atlanta's plays from. I would assume somewhere in Atlanta, but I don't know that for a fact. Whereas I know where Dallas's facilities are. They're actually fairly close to Houston's. So, that might be something I'll have to look into.
Yeah, but my favorite thing to come out of that news though was just Houston being like, "All right, we won."
Yep. Yeah. The battle for Texas will be muted, but hey, we get the battle for LA back. Not that it looks like it's going to be very much of a battle. Yeah, we'll get to that when we talk about the Pro-Am.
Absolutely. So obviously the other thing that we had aforementioned earlier is the release of the Overwatch League 2.0 skins hidden the in-game shop. So, we got updates for Overwatch 2 on that front. As I mentioned earlier, I did the side-by-side with the Mercy Soul Dynasty skin. And if you're curious, like, hey, are these outright replacing what we have already unlocked and paid for? You were still able to equip, the 1.0 skins. But you do not automatically just get all of the 2.0 skins if you have purchased the 1.0 versions. You were rebuying, these new version skins. And, we were kind of like looking at some of these earlier, Spyder.
Mm-hmm.
And, some of them are very subtle in regards to, like, the changes. Obviously, like, the bigger things are obviously, like, with the rebrands with, Vegas and, Soul Infernal. So, they get fresh looks across the board. We were kind of memeing a little bit on the LA Gliders look, with the purple, the primary color of purple with the pink accents in regards to like the secondary color, which you could take or leave. I think I like it a little bit more than you do, but it's still just somber vibes across the board at that point in time. But I thought it was interesting that like people in our community are like, well, do we just automatically get the skins like if we already bought the past version? It's like,
no.
I don't know why anyone would have that sort of expectation. Like, of course, they want you to tune in. They want you to earn the tokens. They want you to potentially go out of your way and throw your money at the screen to buy the Overwatch League tokens, which, that is a whole other topic in itself because the price points for the Overwatch League tokens are absurd.
Astronomical.
Yeah, like
Broken.
Ridiculous. Like way too high compared to like the premium currency even, which is already, maybe slightly above market average. But at the end of the day, it's good that we're getting fresh looks, because we already have people who are going through, like if you're a fan, I have all the Soul Dynasty skins unlocked for the 1.0. And I at least have like one skin for like every team in the league. Spider, I know you were kind of like going through and doing the same thing.
Yep.
Knowing that they were going to retire. Specific the rebranded teams in this case. But how are you guys feeling about like the new looks? Were there any like standout moments that you guys had? Are you feeling the new like Vegas and like Soul skins in particular, or any other ones that look more flashy than the counterpart for the 1.0 that you've seen?
I have I have a video up from Bro You Whack who goes through all the skins, so people can, if you're watching, you can see some of the skins. But honestly, the Vegas skins look really good.
They do.
The red and black's kind of a meme at this point. It's kind of like a blue team, but the Vegas Eternal skins look good. You already touched on kind of how I feel about the Gladiators. Like the Gladiators are like my least favorite. The only like overarching thing I have is like Zarya. For some reason, like all her skins look really weird. Like they all look like away skins. Like there is like no color on Zarya. It is just gray and then like tones of the teams. So honestly, the away skins actually look better. So it's really weird. But I think all the skins look good. I'm not a fan of the Gladiators, but I think they look good. I think all the color changes look good. Like I like the little details. Like Bastion's got the emblem on his hat. The Anna's got it on like her lapel that hangs down. I like all the skins. But yeah, there's little nitpicky things I could complain about.
I really liked the Gladiators ones at the beginning, but I feel like the more I look at it, it's off balance with the white. It feels like the purple and the pink is already a weird choice, but like those colors so close together. Like all of us who took a beginner art class, you look at the color wheel, and you're supposed to pick ones like in 3 separate corners that are far away from each other, and I don't know. Like the more I look at it, is that the pink is too dark.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna go pink, go crazy light with it. I think it works.
I think they just didn't want to like touch on Hangzhou, whereas Hangzhou I think balanced it much better. Is they have the bright pink, but they also have the blue underneath,
Yes.
and that I think that looks much better because you like you said, you get that contrast that we learned in 3rd grade. So it's a little weird to me, but yeah, the Infernal skins look okay. I honestly, like out of all of them, all the Ramatra skins look great.
Yes.
Like
They look super cool.
Nemesis looks awesome. So I'll definitely be picking them up as the season goes along. Like I will probably try to get one of every team again.
I do like you. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I was gonna say they're all gonna be May, but no, go ahead.
I mean, I do think they livened up a lot of these colors. Like you look at like with Soul Dynasty too, like there's so much more gold, and it's not like a flat like matte gold. It's like a very like it's shimmery. Like they did that for a lot of these textures where like it's a lot cooler. Some of these are better than others. The pixels on Roadhog's tummy are still bad, but
And I don't understand because if you look at like Doomfist looks phenomenal. Like it looks so crisp, and I'm like, well, why couldn't you do that for like Roadhog? Like, why did you just stretch like a 200 pixel PNG image? Like, dude, get the high vector, like the high, resolution vector version, like you did for all the other teams.
yeah. There's a bunch of these that are a little whack. Boys, we'll probably talk about it next week or whenever we get actual news for it. You may want to buy your Chengdu Hunter skins now.
We've been alluding to it all night, so yeah.
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 I mean, I like most of these. I think that what I like too is that for the accent colors, they've really kind of pushed a lot of them. So like with Florida Mayhem, they brought up the pink in a lot of these. And some of them work better than others. Like the bright pink kind of work is not as great on like big stretches, like how Hanzo has like a full like athletic shirt now underneath that like is this big old splotch of pink.
Yeah.
But granted, I can't see it during the game, so I don't care. by and large, I like these. By and large, and it makes you realize like how good some of these new models are because it's just you're seeing the color outlining a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize Ash's jacket was like all of that different layers of stuff, and then you look, you're like, oh, there actually is a lot going on here.
Our Moira has a lot going on in her
Yes.
outfit, and her outfit was like really subtly changed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're all good.
Yep. And then now you can get the little, you can get the weapon charms too. Finally.
Mm-hmm.
So very cool. Basic things. Basic things.
Yep.
Oh, no, if only we could get the Team Chant title cards.
If
Then
only.
we'll be good to go. You know, I got part of the package I wanted, so
Seoul,
you know,
Korea. Seoul, Korea.
yeah.
Hashtag Seoul, Korea.
Yeah,
South Korea, South
I'll
Korea.
take what wins we can get. So also since our last episode, we did have the second batch of the Overwatch League jerseys popping up for the 2023 season. So let's go ahead and take a look at the new additions
Woo!
that we
It's time.
haven't gotten to talk about, even though we had technically already seen most of these with the leaks and whatnot. Spyder, how is yours listed if you're gonna throw it? On the page?
We'll start with Dallas. So it's gonna go Dallas, Valiant, Gladiators, Spitfire. Yeah, I'll tell you from there. You don't got to remember
Okay.
it. So we'll start
Well,
with
I
Dallas.
didn't know which way you had it filtered. Primarily.
We'll start with Dallas. So because they're first on my list, and I'm not biased at all, but they are actually first on my list. So
Okay. All right, so we got the Dallas Fuel with their new look. I'm trying to see if there's any sort of accents.
It's okay.
It's just okay. Obviously, you
okay.
still got the blue flame being the primary part of kind of like the rib cage on the side there, and also on the shoulders. This is definitely a lighter blue though.
it is.
At least with the accent colors compared to what we normally get.
I like it. I like the blue. It's a solid, like even as a Dallas Fuel stan, it is a solid C+ for me. Like they could have done a lot more with it, but it's fine. So I wish I had more to say about it, but
Yeah.
it's pretty boring. I mean, at the end of the day, like I'd hate to say it, but even the Valiant one next to it, like that's the next one, looks much cooler. They did a lot more with it.
Yeah, because like even like with the flame on the back, it was more just like a stencil type of design, which I thought was an interesting choice because it's not really consistent like with what's on the front of the jersey.
Yeah, I like that. I like the stencil on the back just to give it a little bit of difference. But like I said,
Does any?
C+.
You know what's weird is that the stencils don't match.
Yeah,
You notice that?
Yeah,
like,
it's not like it's followed through.
like it's
Or,
like
like,
cut
even
off.
weird, I guess.
It's like further over. So it's,
yeah, like it. There's no matching at all, and
Uh-uh.
so I'm curious. I'm very curious about why do all these pajama shirts cost $90? There's not. They all look like pajamas, Spyder. They all look like I went to Target and bought a 5-pack of Paw Patrol
Hanes.
pajamas. Like
Hanes Paw Patrol pajamas. Yep.
yeah. The weird kind of like cloud of like gas or oh those are those are clouds
Oh, are you talking
on
about
the sleeves.
Valiant?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
it's alright. It's alright.
I
wish it
like the
didn't,
Valiant one.
The Valiant one's okay. The Gladiators one is.
I think the only like complaint I have about the Valiant one is they could have dropped the logo on the sleeves because it seems like they're just forcing them on there. Like they could have kept the clouds. They could have kept the small logo on like right underneath the neck. And I like the design of it. Like I like the design that they put on it. It's a good use of negative space, but
It's a lot of flying V's.
flying V's, yeah. So I like the Valiant one. Like that is a B for me.
It's not too bad. Not
All right.
too bad.
Next
Trying
up,
to see like what colors are on the shoulders because it's they got
It's
like,
like
a
a
green and a
fade from-
turquoise and a
yeah.
yellow.
yeah, it's like yellow to
gradient.
the light blue. So, I
get
just
a
don't
pass
like-
grade.
I don't
Definitely
like the
better than the
font.
Dallas one.
See, Spider, this Gladiators one suffers from the same thing that the Houston Outlaws one does. They look like pajamas. They look like. Also, you turn around, you see how there's like, if you flip it to the back, there's this little LA on the butt.
Yeah, oh yeah, I do see that. That's pretty funny.
But like with the LA one, the Gladiators, it's much more akin to like the third kit design that
Mhm.
they did, compared to a lot of the other designs that we're getting with the Overwatch League jerseys this season, which I like, because like out of like all of the third kits that I do have, the Gladiators one is my favorite. But I don't know if I would buy this, knowing that there are a lot of elements that have already been pulled from the prior design.
Mm.
Whereas like I think the Shaka was in a similar situation, since theirs too was also play on their third kit, but I think they were much more successful with the overall
The
end result.
the thing about this one, right, is like the Houston design that screams like Texas to me. Like they could have done it better, but I get the connection. This just looks like they pulled some shitty wallpaper pattern and put it on the side of their shirt. Like I don't like maybe because I'm East Coast and I don't live in LA or I don't know the connection. Like, is there any connection to this pattern in LA? Like it just seems so random.
I mean, as our resident Californian, let me tell you, I have no idea.
Yeah, right. It just seems like a shitty wallpaper pattern.
Is it like is it vines? Like
It's definitely
Hollywood?
leaves of some kind. So if you know what the connection is, I will gladly retract that statement. But
I'm gonna look it up, but
Let's hold on.
they
Okay.
they also have LA on one sleeve and the logo on the other, which I can't remember if any other teams did that. But
Inferno are kind of doing it.
but at
When
the
they just have logo on one, not on both.
yeah, so I mean it's okay. Like I'd give it like a D. I would bump it up to a C if there is a connection.
Yeah, I'm not finding anything.
So
Did you?
yeah, so if you know the connection, comment. If this is pushing engagement. Comment below.
I I don't know. Somebody in this thread saying they fired the designer, so we'll see.
Oh.
Maybe they just also got let go. I think maybe it's the photos, but like this also feels like a much lighter purple, which I personally don't like. That's just a personal taste kind of thing.
Hey, at least there's not pink all over it.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like when you directly compare it to like the original ones, I like how dark that purple is and how dark the black is in that, but that's a personal taste. Yeah, the LA on the butt is still the funniest thing in the world to me. Just I don't know why they put that there.
It is. All right, next up is Totem's London Spitfire.
What?
Totem,
What do you mean they're mine?
yours.
They were like your second team for a while.
I mean, sort of. That was primarily for storyline purposes.
Yeah, okay. Well,
After Royal Rodin, but yeah, like interesting.
I think it's cool.
My problem with like a lot of these designs is just the use of like what they're doing like around the neck area, and especially the shoulders too, because it feels like half the teams are just like, okay, we're just gonna have a blanket color and we're just gonna leave it, and then other teams are like, all right, well we're gonna do this with the other side, and maybe we'll throw like a little bit of a design in there. But I really do like the colors, because you do have like 4 different blues throughout this particular jersey, which is nice to see. And the design does follow through with the front, and also the back, which is also nice to see. And you do have the aviation.
Except this will trigger Ramses again. The front and the back don't match up. Like the pattern on the front and the back are different sizes.
But there's also the Spitfire on the butt. So
It's not an exact like flip. You know what? Like I'm willing to make that exception. The one Spitfire logo on the bottom corner is interesting. Is this the only one that doesn't have anything on the shoulders at all?
It might be. I can go back and look.
I don't think any of the other ones have 0 on the shoulders, because even the Inferno has one on at least one.
Defiant doesn't really.
Oh yeah.
which
It's fine.
we haven't done
It's
that
a
one yet.
C for me. It's a C.
I,
It's not
yeah,
great.
I'd give it a B just because I like the radar looking thing.
Well, and what's funny is that for the longest time, I don't know what the deal is with Cloud9. You can't get the original Spitfire jerseys. They just did either they didn't make them or they didn't sell them. Like you can't get the stable versions of those anymore.
Yeah, I do
Like even when we
the
were at grand finals, you couldn't get them.
I do like the little bit of orange in there. Like I think that's cool. Like they didn't overuse the orange, so I'd give it a B. All right,
You
next
know,
next up.
somebody.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say really quick. I'm going to ruin most of these jerseys for you now. We maybe talked about this last time I was here about how all these shirts look like they're from they're gamer shirts from Brothers that you would get.
Mm-hmm.
That's how,
Yep.
one of those ones that'd be like, "We'll trade sister for video games."
Yep.
And this Soul Infernal one like looks everything about this looks exactly like that.
Yeah. So
I like the cherry blossoms, very good.
Yep. Although, does Soul have a big cherry blossom? I don't know enough. I'd have to ask my wife. She'd know.
Bro, don't you know the lore about why the Soul cherry blossoms, right?
No.
About how
What?
Washington also has cherry blossoms that they use for stuff too.
Well, see, Washington has cherry blossoms because we have a lot of cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C., that there is a cherry blossom festival every year. Actually, it starts next week. That were gifted by Japan. So Washington, even though it's a little random, it does make sense, especially if you are from Washington. But I don't know about Seoul. If Seoul has
it is a thing. It's
Okay.
primarily like mid-March and April.
okay, so they have like a cherry blossom festival as well.
They do.
Well, it makes sense then. It's cool. I think it's a little, if you're the Infernal, you could have done so many different things
Yeah,
with that.
we're looking for demonic themes, and they're like, yeah, let's throw some cherry blossoms on it.
Let's put like the most chill tree in the world on our shirt. So I like the design, and I think they could have done something cool. I do find it kind of funny that when you go to Soul Inferno, it's like, here's all our fusion stuff. So that's kind of funny on the store, but it's cool. I'd give it like a B minus. I think the back looks really cool where you get like the full shot of the cherry blossom. The red looks nice. I like the font. Like I don't have any major complaints about it.
Yeah, it's definitely like in regards to like the overall design, more subtle than a lot of the other ones. It's not as aggressive or in your face, which is definitely a choice in its own right. But yeah, definitely a little polarized in regards to like overall marketing with the rebrand, because it clashes a little bit. Just because you have the aggressiveness, but you also have the passiveness all tied into one jersey.
All right, Florida Mayhem.
The gamer jersey.
This one is a 100% solid elite.
This is the Mayhem jerseys essentially like if you walk into Taco Bell.
Oh yeah,
when they were being like built in the 90s and
Yo,
like those sort of aesthetics. That's what this reminds me of.
this jersey. People who wear this jersey survive only on Baja Blasts, like 100%.
I feel called out.
Yo, I love the on the back though, like where they have like that insert with the Rocco's Modern Life pattern, like in the back.
That's so good.
They do.
I like it. They put a lot into this jersey. Like, there's a lot of like.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that they were just like, we're gonna use as much space as possible with it. It's asymmetrical. It's kind of gross, but I kind of like it. Of all the new jerseys, I probably would buy this one.
Yeah, this one's an A for me easily because they put a lot of effort into the design. The colors look good, like the light like teal and the pink look great. And like you said, the Rocco's Modern Life pattern on the back just makes it. And the little bomb at the bottom fits in with the Taco Bell, like watch out, kind of thing. So yeah, I really like this one. Like I if it wasn't $90, I would consider buying this one.
And it also works too because the other bomb is by the ass. So
yeah. Exactly. All right. This one is a statement and a half. New York Excelsior.
Oh boy, I don't even know where to begin with this one. I remember, when the leak started, and that was like the first one that I looked at, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? This is. Now we're talking about design in a t-shirt. This is a prime example of having way too much added into a design.
Mm-hmm.
It's too busy.
That is an understatement and a half.
And just the stenciling in particular with New York really bugs me.
Gentlemen, I kind of like this one. I think it's kind of cool, personally.
It's different.
It looks like it. This is the Overwatch League jersey equivalent of like a tap out shirt.
Yep. 100%.
You look like you wear this while watching Bully Beatdown on your couch when you get home from school.
I think overall, like, my favorite thing with the design is more on the back with the graffiti aspect. I don't quite understand the 99 cents. Is that for like the lookout? Or
there's something because it's all New York related. I love this quote.
This is like an Empire State thing.
I'm from where beef is inevitable.
Well, I like the one on the front. If you don't know, now you know. So, which aptly does not sum up their roster at all at this point. So, but I am with you. Like, I really like the back. Like, I think the back flows together so much better. I feel like the front, like, they just chose so many things that just run into each other. I don't know.
It's
A for
Jay-Z
effort.
lyrics.
Is it?
Yeah. Are these all Jay-Z lyrics? One second. Because the other one on the back says Brooklyn keep taking it, Manhattan keep making it.
Makes sense. Bronx.
This is The Bridge is Over by Boogie Down Productions.
Okay.
I wonder what the license, like how much, I wonder if they had to do any licensing with that. I doubt it because there's no way they're paying anybody. But like,
yeah, it's interesting. Like like you said, I think it's a little busy, but it's cool that they tried something different.
You know what? As a third kit, it would be cool.
Yep. I don't like I don't like the New York font. Like, I think if they would have went with like graffiti New York, I think it would have been so much better. Like that, I don't know. Beyond that, I think it's a little busy, but it's cool that they did something different. So that's what I'm going to stick it as. If I had to grade it, I'd probably give it like a B, just because it's creative. Like that's a creative kid in class. You're like, I want to nurture that creativity because eventually you're going to give us the Thriller album, kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess I just wish there was more color because like whenever you're thinking of graffiti and just street art in particular, you're not just thinking of
black
gray and black and white,
All right, next up, the Weeb shirt, Hangzhou Spark it. Yes, it does say Spark it in there, by the way.
That's it. Okay, I gotta pull.
It says bank.
I like this one.
It's cool. Like I don't know.
I think it's a good conversion of what the other original jersey was, but you still have all the texture and all the different like printing in here.
Yep.
There's a lot of finger banging going on.
Yeah.
That's what she said. No. Okay.
I like the big finger gun on the back too.
Yeah, that one looks good. Yeah,
it is one of those things too where you're like, if you don't know what this is, there's just a bunch of finger guns on there.
This is my most roundabout way of supporting the certain scientific railgun show. No, it's cool. Like I'd give it a B. Like they use all the space well. I like the pattern. I don't think it's too busy.
It's not. I just feel like with the pink in particular, it's very subtle with the accent with the other pink.
I think this is one of the few jerseys that could go really well or really bad depending on how it actually looks.
Yeah, I feel like it would look better in person than it actually appears in actual photo.
Exactly. So that one's all right. All right, and our last one, Toronto Defiant.
And this website is loading super slow. I'm just trying to go back, bro. Come on, what's going on?
It's like it's like,
Iron Man.
You like Iron Man, right, Spyder?
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to look like a ghetto cyborg? Well, guess what? Now you can, and support your middling Toronto Defiant.
Man, Iron Man wears a super cool suit when he's out in the town. But what suit does Iron Man wear when he's gonna go to sleep?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I do love the little
Suit up.
teeny. I love the teeny little like logos in there.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that's
What exactly is going on with this A? With the font.
it's like shrugging, like defiant.
It's like maybe this team is gonna fall on its head.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It does seem out of place for that font.
Yeah, that's really the only comment I have on it, because it stands out for some reason to me.
It's not bad. I don't know.
I'd give it like a C plus or a B minus. Like it's fine. Like it would definitely be a shirt like I could wear to work and people would be like, haha, that's kind of cool. It looks like a chip because, we're nerds.
See,
But
the problem for me, like looking at like the cybernetic type approach to this, is when I look at this, that's not what I'm thinking of. It just makes me want to take a marker and just treat it like a maze.
like connect the dots like
Or that too, but more specifically a maze and just drawing lines all over the place.
get that solder iron away from me. Yeah, no. It's all right. Yeah. All right, I think that's it. I think that rounds out our
overall,
jersey.
I would say the winner, at least out of the second batch, probably Florida.
Yeah. Florida. For me.
Yeah. Man. Something I'm a little bit annoyed with is that when you look at all of these, they all have like, what I liked about the jerseys before is that they all had very bright or very distinct colors.
Mm-hmm.
They were all very punchy, and all of the colors have been like desaturated and like deadened a little bit. And that's part of why I think this is part of why I think they feel cheap, is because like they've all just been deadened and they all feel washed out.
Well, you missed it. Totem's wearing his new Vancouver
Yo,
one, and he said that it's definitely not as comfortable as the old ones.
Yeah.
Is it itchy like the season 1 ones?
No, it's not. It's not to that level. I have worn this a few times. I was telling Spyder, like I was curious to see if there was anything on the zipper part, like on the sides. There's nothing on the Titans one. It's just like a flat dark blue, like what you got like on the lower half. But yeah, it's definitely different material. So it's not quite as nice as like the Soul Dynasty jersey I picked up at the grand finals, but it's not as bad as like the initial batch. So it's kind of middle end. Is it $90 good? No.
There you go. That's all you need to know.
Did I get it really quick? Yes. But I would still say like for like $60, more serviceable.
So wait till the end of the year when they have that clearance sale.
Yeah, or maybe they'll do a sale right before the season starts. You never know.
Yeah, maybe. All right, man. We got one more thing to talk about to bring it home. It's 1:11 here, so let's bring it home.
All right, obviously the biggest news, at least out of this, is an update on the Pro-Am West in regards to who's going to be competing and where teams are going to be for this. So for those that don't remember, the Pro West is basically an extension of Path to Pro. We're going to have some contenders team competing against the Overwatch League teams, and this all kicks off on March 23rd. And this is going to be lasting a couple of weeks. So technically, we don't have to like immediately jump in to do an episode next week if we don't want to. But basically, we had these qualifiers. There were over 200 teams competing to try to go through here. And, we were kind of curious to see, like, okay, what teams are actually going to compete in here, at least from the Overwatch level. And they broke it up into the West and the East regions. So looking at the West, representing the Overwatch League, we have the Reign, Uprising, Mayhem, Outlaws, Spitfire, Gladiators, Valiant, Excelsior, Shock, Defiant, Titans, Eternal, and the Justice. And over in the East, you basically have the entire region outside of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, Chengdu's listed on this. So who knows? Maybe Chengdu will actually have a roster, but like again, this is for the West. We're not talking
Yeah.
about the East,
We'll
which
talk
is
about
the
West.
important thing to clarify. So we're still going to take the wait and see if we're going to have an update in regards to the East. But just based off of that, maybe we will see the Hunters, maybe we won't. But this is their whole way to open up the ecosystem a bit more. Whereas before, like there really wasn't a way for contenders teams to qualify for any sort of like bigger structure tournaments like the Overwatch League. So there was that very obvious step where it's more like, hey, maybe I'll get picked up as a free agent or get my contract bought out. But now we get some direct competition, which is definitely going to add a lot of spice to storylines, because we've already talked several times in the past and brought this up in regards to like tier rankings and having like college esports teams like above some of the upper Overwatch League teams. Now we can actually see how much truth there is to those statements. And we do know some of the other teams that are going to be competing. I don't know if they listed the contenders teams on this specific page.
I have them here. I have them up.
Okay.
So in NA, we have Saints, Trick Room, Redbird Esports, and Timeless. And then the EMEA, we have Wisp, Twisted Minds, and Peps are the three from that made it through the qualifiers into this Pro-Am. So
You're on Wikipedia right now?
Uh-huh.
Is that where you're... Okay.
Yeah, if you look under Season 6, if you go to Pro-Am, you can see it.
Pull this up on my end. But yeah, definitely happy that the local college team qualified. That beat Redbird Esports, which is Illinois State University. So I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to them. Let's see, Season 6 Pro-Am. There it is. Just want to see like if there are any like notable names in regards to these other qualifying teams that I recognize.
Well, Mikey's on Saints.
Yeah, and False has also played a little bit. Yeah, Kane, also a notable name. One of the younger talents out there. One of the quote prodigies at the DPS.
He looked pretty good. Boat for Trick Room looked really good as well. They called it the Boat Show. That was pretty close.
Oh, we got Wub on Timeless.
Yep. Wub is on Timeless. Kuffa was like the standout, I think, on Ball.
Okay.
I think it was Kuffa on Ball. But that was like the standout. As far as on the EMEA, we had Wisp did okay. Crawley is interesting because isn't he signed to a team?
Currently?
Yeah, doesn't he play?
He was on the Eternal.
He was on the Eternal, so no.
Yeah, he was no longer with them.
Okay. Other than that, Naga is on Peps, so we have seen Naga in the past.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like bigger tier 2 names. You got Hybrid Naga, Molfig, and Kelix.
Yep. So,
all have bond tenures with Pat the Pro.
Yep. Yeah, it could be interesting. Redbird didn't do as well as I thought they would in the qualifier, but they still looked really good. Like Gig looked good, Grathan looked good, but Saints looked. I hate to say it, Saints looked above and beyond every other team. They just. I don't know. King was crazy. So I'm curious to see. Now, one thing that did come out of the like qualifier is like at the end of every game they ask like which Overwatch League team do you want to play against? Dude, every single one of the teams said the Valiant. And the Valiant are one of the few teams that don't have an announced roster. So
Same with New York being the other
yeah,
team in this case.
so it's really interesting to me because obviously they know who the supposed roster is, and if you followed any of the leaks, you may know too. But we'll talk about that once it's officially known or announced, if it ever does get announced. But it's so funny to me that all of these teams that won said that they wanted to play the Valiant. So I don't know if they just have like a vendetta against them or if that's like the low hanging fruit. It could be both. So um, I'm curious to see how this shakes out because if any of the performances from these teams matches what we saw in the qualifier, some of these Overwatch League teams could be in trouble. Because, like I said, I'd say even Timeless, who finished fourth, looked good. So I think all four of these teams could make a run at some of these teams. Now, there are other Overwatch League teams that I don't think they can touch, like San Francisco. So that's cool. I mean, they did finally announce the formatting, which is the big question we had going into this is like not only what teams are playing, but how are they going to play. So that's cool.
And of course, with the format, they broke it down into 4 different groups. Some of them have a little bit an easier case than others. But any like real standouts, like which group out of the 4 do you guys feel is going to be the most competitive in the grand scheme of things?
I think they're all pretty well balanced. If I'd say anything, I'd probably say maybe Group B is the easiest, with only Atlanta and maybe London being a problem. But Group A, I think, might be the toughest. I don't know. Like, I actually think they're all pretty well balanced. Um, that's interesting. C has Uprising, Gladiators, Peps, Justice, and Wisp. Out of all of them, I think Justice looked like the weakest team. So that's kind of funny there to me. Yeah, I think they did a good job balancing the groups. If teams are at the power levels we expect them to be at. But yeah, I'd probably say just because of the shock, Group A is probably the hardest. Trick Room's also no slouch, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think I am excited to see it. We've heard some rumors about some Overwatch League teams having some struggles going through it. This is also going to be where we finally see New York's roster.
Yep.
And Valiant's roster. Valiant's roster has been rumored, but we haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, I was talking about how all the contenders teams said they wanted to play the Valiant, so they must know something.
Well, I think to that point too, though, like Valiant was always one of those teams who, for the tier breakpoints, was the collegiate equivalent or underneath.
Is that before or after they stopped paying their players?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it's cool. I am really interested. This is probably one of the most excited I've been for a tournament in a long time because we're going to get to see some stuff we don't normally get to see, and I actually think the game, like the meta for the game, is in a really good spot right now. Like we've seen everything from like May Bastion to Winston Dive to Hammond to Reinhardt Rush. Like it's all over the place, and it's so map dependent that I think we could see a lot of fun stuff. As much as people beam on the Antarctic map. So that seems to be the one everybody doesn't like because that's the May Bastion map, but it'll be fun.
It's understandable. No one likes May.
Hey. You would say that right as I had to take my headphones off.
I
He said what he said, Spyder.
I know. My headphones were dying.
well,
So I
it
didn't hear
matches
it.
everyone's soul whenever they play against May, so it's fine.
Yeah, but imagine a world where a professional meta is May Bastion. I mean, we are in the worst timeline.
Obviously, the other thing to note is 1 p.m. Pacific time start times for match days.
Yep.
I haven't actually looked at the schedule to see things are broken up. Looks like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah. So Group A starts March 23rd.
Are these best of 3?
I think so.
It's just weird because like the start times are like an hour after one another.
I think it is best of 3.
Okay.
Right.
So how much to Overwatch are we going to get?
So our first game is actually Florida versus San Francisco. That could be a banger. Not in terms that it will probably be a good game, but San Francisco could come out and make a statement early.
Okay, just looking at the schedule really quick. Shock played twice on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And it's like the Shock are also the first team to face one of these Path to Pro teams, and they will already be warmed up.
Yep.
So if you want to talk about throwing these teams into like the deep end,
Throwing them into the blender.
that's basically what it is in this situation, which is not equal to like what some of these other Path to Pro teams are dealing with. You look at Timeless, their first match is against Vancouver Titans. That is also their first match. So I
Saints
find
versus
that pretty interesting.
the Valiant. So they will get their wish because they were one of the teams that said that they wanted to play the Valiant. So right out of the gate they get their wish. So that's cool. Again,
like five matches a day.
Yeah, and there are multiple days where a team plays twice. Like day 2, Atlanta plays twice. Day 4, who was TRM again? TRM was Trick Room. Plays twice. And then London plays twice on day 3. So that's interesting.
And there's only one Path to Pro versus Path to Pro match.
Yep.
By the looks of this. And it happens to be the last one for Sunday. Barring if you guys consider, like Vegas Eternal to be like collegiate equivalent.
We'll see.
Definitely looking forward to it because obviously, like, there's still a lot of talk about World Cup, and like this is kind of like the first stage entering like that phase, sort of. But yeah, definitely excited to check this out. Tune in. Earlier start times mean I won't be able to watch all of it live, which is, a little unfortunate.
I love 4
happy
p.m.
to
start
have-
times.
Yeah, just it's at least something to talk about, which is the important thing. We've been a little dry, outside of like a show match here or there, but this is officially official. Like, teams are going to be trying.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you imagine being the first Overwatch League team to lose to a contenders team? Nobody is going to let you forget that.
Yeah, just like going 0-40.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you imagine if Timeless comes out and just stomps Vancouver into the ground, like the memes on Vancouver are going to be astronomical.
They wouldn't do that to my boy Sugar Free. They wouldn't do that.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Like this might be one of those instances where I have to watch Avast's co-stream if he does a co-stream for this, because normally I like to just, watch the games, zone out, pay attention to that. But the commentary on some of these games is going to be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And this is, once this starts, it's basically like a month out to the Overwatch League start as well. So the countdown is almost here.
So starting next week, it's basically 3 straight weeks of of play, and then we get like a small break, and then it's go time, baby.
Right on. Looking forward to it.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll be able to split it up half and half then for the tournament play, which would be nice.
Although
But anything else of note with the pro-am?
the tournament taking place over 2 days is a little weird. It only takes place over the 8th and the 9th, so that's a lot of Overwatch for these teams to be playing. Um, so, well, the fact that like both teams have to play in the semifinals and grand finals on the same day is a little interesting because that was always like, the losers bracket had to play, right, but there is no losers bracket in this. It's just you're in or you're out kind of thing. So that's a little interesting that they would shove that over 2 days. Like I feel like they could have gotten away with a third day for the grand finals, but I guess not. Nope, I think that's it for me. I will be cheering on Grathen, the one Irish player playing. So, go Grathen.
Yep, and
Go
I'm
Grathen
gonna be
indeed.
keeping a close eye on Redbird. Gotta support the local college. But we'll see. They were definitely a little shaky. But yeah, so that's something to look forward to next week. And of course, we'll be jumping in on our next episode, at least, for the first week or, whatever we decide to sit down and record our next one. Probably be bi-weekly still.
Yeah.
So, we'll still be like a week into the tournament at that point. But, we can always give first impressions on the teams that we have seen up to that point in time. But yeah, I just wish there was stream information on page, but there's not.
Nope.
Because there have been stuff on YouTube and there has been stuff on Twitch, and I don't know what direction it is.
Give me the command center back, please.
Because I know a lot of the
Rhinus.
qualifiers were on the contenders YouTube,
Yep.
so I'm assuming that's where this is going to be too.
Although
But only
the qualifiers were on Twitch too, so
okay.
because that's where I watched it, because that's how I got my little Reinhardt bobble thing for the Twitch drops. So, yeah, I'd imagine it's going to be both at this point because they're definitely playing up both. So I had to do some shenanery, so I stopped getting ads every 5 minutes. I definitely paid for it. Like, definitely, don't look too far into that. Anybody paying attention? Didn't install Firefox and set up a specialized ad blocker that's not available on Chrome anymore, kind of thing.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that will basically do it for us here tonight on Heroes Never Die. So if you guys are looking to keep in contact with everything going on with the podcast, you can find us over on Twitter at HND Overwatch. All of our video content and our shorts are on our YouTube at Overwatch League Network or at HND Overwatch. And you can also join in on our discussions over in our Discord at discord.me/OWLN show. Outside of that, of course, you can reach all of us on social media as well. So, Ramses, where can listeners find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ramses_GG. Where can they find you, Spyder?
They can spot. They can. I can't speak. I can't.
You almost had it. That would have been so good.
I know. Like I said, it's late here, and I've been up early. So you can find me at _Spyder Gaming. We have the shorts on YouTube. I will probably milk what we played tonight for some more shorts. I'll find some memes of Totem nailing like 7 shots in a row, just decimating everybody.
The important thing, Spyder, is the Hanzo footage was lost.
Yeah. So
Thank God.
I had mentioned that, right? Like I had mentioned that I had your gameplay. Somehow that gameplay disappeared off my hard drive because I have the game where I played because I made a short with it. But I do not have the game where you played. So either I just couldn't watch it and deleted it, or the universe was like, you don't need that kind of negativity in your life, and deleted it for me. But I'll probably make some shorts out of our games tonight. There were some interesting moments for sure. There were definitely some ragey moments, but keep an eye out for the shorts coming up. For next week, depending on the tournament and my work schedule, which actually seems to finally be lighting up a little bit, maybe I'll do like a quick here's what happened in the tournament this week, kind of thing. Since we're not going to do a show next week, but I'm not going to promise anything because work can swing up real quick. So, what about you, Totem? Where can they find you? Don't mess it up like I did.
You can you can find me over on Twitter at @TimLeeDrunk. But yeah, looking forward to the tournament next week. I'll probably hang out in the Discord Thursday after work if people want to talk about the matches as they're going on. But yeah, I'll definitely have a late start to that. But we'll be back probably in a couple of weeks talking about what we have seen in the tournament, and we'll see what other sort of updates we're going to have along the way. But that will do it for us here tonight on Heroes Never Die. This has been episode number 252. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been your host, Simply Drunk, joined as always by my co-hosts Ramses and Spyder. And we'll see you guys back for 253. You guys take care.
See ya.